Before we start the movie, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and activate the notification bell so you never miss any of our new content. The movie begins with a married couple, Ejen and his wife Zoe, having lunch at Ejen's mother's house. Through their conversation, we learn that the couple is unable to have children, and Ejen's mother tries in every way to convince them to have a baby, as she dreams of seeing a grandchild. Everyone was waiting for Jon, Ejen's brother, to arrive for lunch, but he didn't show up, so they ate without him. Through the mother's conversation with Zoe, we discover that the relationship between Ejen and Jon is not good. In fact, they hate each other. Later, Zoe visits Jon's art gallery. We learn that he is a painter. She asks to buy one of his paintings, and Jon begins showing her his collection. She likes a painting that costs $3,000. Zoe is surprised that he asks for payment, as she assumed he would gift it to her, but he tells her nothing is free anymore. He jokes that, because of his love for his brother, she definitely has to pay for it. Zoe returns home and shows the painting to her husband Ejen, who likes it a lot. But he gets upset when he finds out she went to his brother and paid for the painting. This makes him even angrier, especially since Ejen manages his father's factory and works hard, while Jon takes money without any effort or responsibility and never goes to the factory. In the evening, a commercial featuring a small child airs on TV. Ejen notices that his wife is emotionally affected by it and offers to adopt a child, but she refuses, saying she wants a child that is truly hers, not adopted. Here, we learn that Ejen is the reason they cannot have children. A week later, Zoe goes to Jon's gallery. While she's there, her husband calls her, but she lies and says she's with a friend. Jon asks her why she didn't tell her husband the truth, and she replies that she doesn't want him to know that she's being painted, especially not by his brother. Jon starts sketching her, but suddenly something unexpected happens. Her phone accidentally calls her husband, and Ejen hears the entire conversation between her and Jon. He hears her complain to Jon that her marriage isn't normal, that her husband never comes near her, and that she desperately wants a child. He also hears her mention how upset Ejen was when he saw the painting in their house. After hearing all this, Ejen becomes furious. He goes home and throws the painting into the swimming pool. When Zoe returns home and sees the painting in the pool, she starts visiting Jon's house more frequently. She tells him about what happened with the painting, but he isn't surprised. He believes his brother is jealous of him because he lives freely. When Zoe feels tired and wants to leave, Jon offers her to spend the night at his place, and strangely, she agrees. The next day, Jon meets with his girlfriend, who asks him to marry her, but he tells her he's not thinking about marriage right now. Ejen tries calling his brother to apologize for what he did to the painting, but Jon doesn't answer, so Ejen leaves him a message. Later, Jon meets with Zoe and tells her what happened with his brother. At this point, it becomes clear that he has feelings for her, and strangely, she starts returning those feelings. The next day, Zoe goes to meet her friend Pedro, to whom she tells everything. She tells him what happened with Jon. Strangely, Pedro encourages her to pursue a relationship with Jon, arguing that her husband isn't giving her what she needs. Zoe starts to feel repelled by everything her husband does, from his clothes, to his behavior, even the music he likes. One day, while Ejen was away on a work trip, Zoe felt happy, because she hated him. She called Jon and invited him over for dinner, a meal she had cooked herself. That night, she welcomed him warmly. Jon tried to get closer to her, but she made it clear that she invited him only for dinner so she wouldn't feel lonely, and asked him to get rid of any bad thoughts in his head. After dinner, she offered him to stay the night at her place. Jon agreed, and they ended up having a physical relationship that continued multiple times. One day, Zoe's conscience woke up, and she felt guilty and upset. Ejen thought she was bothered by their inability to have children, but she told him that what really hurt her was his emotional distance and lack of attention. She tried to get close to him, but he kept avoiding her. On another day, Ejen invited his mother over for lunch, and he was surprised when his brother Jon showed up. Ejen apologized for what happened with the painting and told him that they are brothers and shouldn't fight, but his words didn't affect Jon, who started behaving boldly. He went into the kitchen and hugged Zoe in front of everyone. At one point, Zoe was complaining to Jon about how her husband never gets close to her. Jon shocked her by saying that Ejen might have other preferences, that he might not be into women at all. This made her ask her friend Pedro for his opinion. Pedro told her that based on his impression, Ejen didn't seem that way, but he might be sick or suffering from some kind of dysfunction. One day, Zoe noticed that her husband was paying a lot of attention to his body, so she asked him if he had other preferences. He mocked her question and got angry. That's when Zoe felt she couldn't continue living with him. She wrote him a letter saying she couldn't go on, and left. Ejen assumed his brother was the one who planted the idea in her mind, so he confronted Jon and accused him of lying. But Zoe had already left the house and gone to a hotel. A few days later, Zoe discovered she was pregnant. She told her friend Pedro, who reassured her and said he was willing to register the child under his name if Jon refused to acknowledge it. One day, Ejen was attending a business meeting at the hotel where Zoe was staying. He saw her and asked the receptionist about her room. When he went up, he overheard her talking to Jon, telling him she was pregnant. But Jon refused to accept the baby as his, accused her of possibly being pregnant by someone else, and asked her to get an abortion. She refused. Before leaving, Jon told her never to contact him again. Strangely, Ejen's reaction was to send her a message congratulating her on the pregnancy. Zoe felt she had no option but to go through with the abortion. She went to a doctor, who refused to perform the procedure and gave her the address of another doctor. When she returned to her room, she found a message from Ejen saying he was there for her if she needed him, and left his number. She called him, and he came to the hotel. She told him that Jon wanted her to get rid of the baby, but Ejen refused the idea and asked her to come back to him. He told her he would be the father of her child. He offered to tell her the truth about himself before they got back together. That's when he confessed that he does indeed have preferences other than women, but he loves her. If she wanted to stay with him, she would have to accept him as he is and not pressure him for any kind of physical relationship. Since Zoe's greatest desire was to become a mother, she accepted Ejen's offer and chose to live with the situation in order to keep her baby. In the end, Jon returned to his former girlfriend. Ejen sent him a message telling him that Zoe had given birth and that he had become a father. Jon was a bit shocked but eventually accepted the reality. If you liked the movie, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and activate the notification bell so you never miss any of our new content.